There is this article that came out on ESPN today, fellas.
All right.
Or maybe it was yesterday. Very interesting article. Essentially what it was ESPN ranked all 32 teams, and the ranking is for the best wide receiver, running back, and tight end, like trio,
like
I guess.
Skill. So like skill and big
skill positions, no quarterback, just running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. I want to go through this list and see where the Lions are. I already obviously know, but I'm gonna start at 1 and go all the way until we get to the Lions, and then we can discuss it. So if you guys, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna go Jeff mode on here and read every single paragraph.
Ooh, shots.
But I'll read. We'll go over and we'll talk about each one a little bit. So obviously, number 1, the 49ers with Debo, George, Jawan Jennings is on there. Klotzy, Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, Christian McCaffrey. Like, I think this is an easy one, right?
Yeah. Even if they lose Ayuk, I still think they could have a combo for 1.
Yeah, I agree with Ricky Pearsall. I'm excited to see Ricky Pearsall. All right, number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen.
Yeah, this is.
Wait. Oh, never mind. I saw Jalen Hurts on the list, but I think they were just saying he has his receivers. Yeah. What do you guys' thoughts on here?
I mean,
like another one where it's hard to dispute.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of, I've been, sticking by the Eagles, and I think they're going to bounce back. They have, some of the best skill positions in the league as far as the offensive side of the ball goes. So, no disagreements.
Yeah, and I think now that they added Saquon Barkley, that kind of puts it off. And I saw someone in the chat here put, I thought it was 1 wide receiver tight end. It might have been that. I think I just didn't read the front of it. I just the article said wide receiver tight end. The article said wide receiver, tight end, running back. We're ranking the teams by them. So I'm going as a whole here. That's my narrative. I write my own narratives around here. The Dolphins 3. I actually don't hate this. I don't know where you guys are at. The only thing I would dispute is who's even their tight end. Mike Gesicki.
I'm trying to think if I honestly, obviously wide receiver goes to the Dolphins, but I honestly think that I like the Lions running back room more than because Raheem Mostert, he's very good when healthy, but that was the most healthy he's ever going to be in his career last year. And Devon Achane, I get the hype with him, but that's a guy that when they worry about Jahmyr Gibbs running in between the tackles, and you're like, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs can run in between the tackles. Devon Achane is not a guy that you can run in between the tackles consistently. So me personally, I think just because the wide receivers that the Dolphins have are so top heavy, especially now you talk about bringing in Odell and the other guys that they brought in, it's hard to rank them above it, but I see it. I see it.
Yeah, I do agree as far as the running backs go. Monty and Gibbs are better than Achane and Mostert, but the Dolphins do have better wide receivers. I mean, Waddle, Tyreek Hill's the best, if not one of the best wide receivers in the league. And then obviously OBJ, he's a little on the older side, but he even showed flashes with the Ravens when he got the ball that, he can still be something out there. So
forgot OBJ. I forgot that Odell's there now. Number 4, this is where things start to get interesting. Ignore that. Number 4, the Houston Texans with obviously Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz,
Stephon
Diggs, and they got Joe Mixon. I like
Damian Pierce still.
Yeah, this isn't actually. I think they're good at 4. I mean,
I would probably
be in the top 5.
I would probably put the Texans above the Dolphins if we're being honest. As far as you just go into our depth, like I think the Texans are 3.
I don't hate that either.
I mean, they do have good wide receivers, but like Tyreek Hill is probably just basically, puts the Dolphins where they are. He's so insane. So I'm okay with it either way. But the Texans, man, they're loaded, and I'm curious to see how Joe Mixon does with that offense as well as Stephon Diggs. So I mean, I don't hate it. Tank Dell.
A lot of people hated on Joe Mixon. Not hated, but they were just like, he's overrated. I'm actually I like Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon's good. Like, he catches passes out of the backfield. He can he's a power back too at times. Like, he does. I think he's a great running back. I think them getting him.
I think Joe Mixon's a running back that is good at everything but great at nothing, and that's not a knock. It's just I don't think he's elite at anything, but he's very, very good at pretty much everything.
I agree with that. I think that's good, and I think like a team like the Texans benefit a ton from a guy like that.
Yeah,
I think that he made their offense that much better.
I know it's off topic, but who did the Bengals replace Mixon with? I totally forgot.
Chase Brown, the running back from Illinois last year, and he's very good.
So this is where things get interesting. This is where things get interesting. You would think the Detroit
I'm
Lions are going to
interested
be
to
there.
see. This was the team I was interested in.
The
I was
Minnesota
really
Vikings above the Detroit Lions.
I don't hate it. I really don't, because if you think about the conversation we were just having with the Miami Dolphins, I think Jordan Addison, it's going to be hard for him to do it just because of the situation he is. I think Jordan Addison is a guy that could live up to the tier that Jalen Waddle is at right now. I get Jalen Waddle as a burner, but Jordan Addison, I think, is a guy that can do it all. Justin Jefferson, the number one wide receiver in the league. And then if you're just comparing him to the Dolphins, I mean, TJ Hawkinson's better than any Miami Dolphins tight end that's been there in the last decade, probably. And I know that the running back situation's a little wary right now, but Aaron Jones is still a legitimate running back in this league. So it's still really hard to hate on that when you have Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson in front of him.
Yeah, no, I get it why they had obviously the two wide receivers. Jordan Addison, I don't think people expected him to hit the ground running like he did last year. So he's a great wide receiver. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the game. TJ Hawkinson, as Lions fans, we know how good he can be. Even though we may hate him at times, he's still a very, very good tight end. And then Aaron Jones, when he can stay healthy, he's involved in the passing game, and obviously he can run the ball. So I don't really hate this one as much. I don't know if I expected him to be there. I kind of forgot about him. Obviously, given the quarterback situation, still a little weary, but I don't hate it at all.
I if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm taking the Detroit Lions skill players. I know Justin Jefferson's the best in the league. I just think as a whole, like DMont, Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta, J-Mo, Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe that's biased, maybe it's not. I just think like to see what they've done. I know JJ's put up a ton of numbers. Justin Jefferson has. And obviously he's probably his first 4 years, he's the best wide receiver of all time. So like I get that puts you up there. I just think as a whole, like I'm taking Laporta over TJ Hawkinson now. Yeah. Like I'm like J-Mo, Jordan Addison. We haven't seen J-Mo's ceiling yet because he hasn't been. But Jordan Addison, the thing with Jordan Addison is like if you watch receivers, and they showed it a lot on receivers, Jordan Addison became the wide receiver number 1 last year, and that made his career go from here to here, and he is elite. Like they have a wide receiver 1 in the wide receiver 2 spot. Yeah, he is. And that's where like I think the Jordan Addison is clearly over the J-Mo right now. But like I think J-Mo, you still have to see what his ceiling is. Like you can still get to a Jordan Addison ceiling. But then you go Jahmyr Gibbs and DMont, taking them over Aaron Jones every day out of the week. So that's why I think the Lions should be there. This gets more interesting because the net number 6, fellas, the Detroit Lions are the 3rd NFC North team on this list because the Chicago Bears are 6.
The Bears.
The Chicago Bears are 6 on this list.
I would have honestly rather seen the Packers here. I really would. Because I mean, I understand that Keenan Allen is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's one of the favorite receivers I've ever watched growing up, but I think him in Chicago is completely different than him in Los Angeles as far as what they can bring to an offense, because he's not going to be able to do Keenan Allen things consistently. And then DJ Moore, I like DJ Moore. But as far as like talent, competing with upper echelon team in the NFL, like Cole Kmet ain't scaring anybody. Gerald Everett ain't scaring anybody. DeAndre Swift's not scaring anybody. Roshan Johnson is a very solid back, but he's probably, if he were to be on the Detroit Lions, he'd be RB3. So I really don't understand this one. I thought the Packers would be here before them.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with this one bit. Obviously, Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are great wide receivers, even though Keenan has battled with some health issues over the last year. But I don't trust that running back core. And Rome Odunze he was great in college, but you still have to go out there and show it your rookie year. And I still think he's going to be good, but you have to account for that. But like you said, Cole Kmet, not the greatest of tight ends, but he's a good tight end. But that running back group, they have no reason they should be involved in this because of that.
This is ridiculous. This is blasphemy. This is insane. Like I think the only reason they're there is because Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. I literally think that's it.
But you think about like
that's it.
The premier playmakers that they have, they maybe like even DJ. Okay, so they have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. Those are like their playmakers. I'm taking Amon-Ra over DJ Moore. I'm obviously going to take Keenan over J-Mo. Yeah. But then you talk about, okay, there's Rome Odunze. Okay, but what about the 3 other playmakers that the Lions have in Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery? Like it's completely outweighed in my opinion.
I don't think
even talking about Sam Laporta yet.
I think the Lions. You make an argument. I think the Lions are 4th on this list. Like that's where I would put them. Like I put the Texans ahead because of like the the depth they have at wide receiver. And then I would put the Lions, and then I would go like Packers. And if you wanted to go Bears, I would. But I think I would put.
You have the Lions in front of the Dolphins.
Actually, probably, because
Okay.
I like the running back room more, and I like Sam Laporta over. I don't even know their tight end right now, Mike Gesicki.
I can't even think of it off the. No, he's gone. I can't
So,
even
like,
think of it.
The only thing with the Lions is the wide receiver room that we talk about, and literally that's why I think like the Jameson Williams conversation is so big, is because it's like if he turns out to be what he's supposed to be, then you can start putting them higher on these lists. That's I think it comes down to.
It was Jonnu, yeah.
Jonnu Smith. Okay, yeah.
Very fine tight end, very fine.
Yeah, I'm still taking. But number 7, obviously now the Detroit Lions at 7. So like,
okay, they're
still top 7, but I think they should be 4th, and I would put them above. I'd put them above the Dolphins. So maybe that makes them 3rd. I'm not 100% sure where they would fall, but I think this is fine. They were ranked last year 16th anyway, so they moved up almost 10 spots.
Well, who's right above them? Finish up the top 10 real quick.
Let's do top 10. We'll go through it quick here. No free ads. The Seattle Seahawks, which I think.
Yeah, I actually really like that one, to be honest.
Good wide receiver group. K9's a dog. Zach Charbonnet.
K9, very underrated, by the way.
Will Disley sneaking out there at the tight end position.
The Rams, I think this is fine. The running back room's good. Court receivers good. Who's their tight end? He's come back from injury.
Higbee.
Yeah,
Higbee.
I wonder if he'll be back. And then the
Falcons.
Kirby
week 1.
This is I can't do this. I can't do this
over the Raiders. I'm surprised the Raiders weren't on here. Well, I guess they lost Josh Jacobs, but still they got Michael Mayer, and now they got Brock Bowers. Bengals as well.
Oh, I can't do this. I would rather have the Jets. I would rather have the Jets.
Oh, that's another one.
Mike
Brees
Williams,
Hall, Mike Williams, Garrett
Hall.
Wilson,
Tyler Conk.
Conk.
I mean, what are we doing here?
We're a Jets podcast.
I'm taking. I'm stop sharing that. That's unbelievable. That's kind of embarrassing for ESPN. Jeez.
That was a pretty poor article.
You guys want to do a couple minutes of mailbag here real quick before we go?
Oh, shit,
Everyone, if you guys drop.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, once we started the segment, I didn't realize the time, and then I knew, like, in my head that the Lions were 7th. I was like, we're definitely going to go over a little bit. So make sure you guys drop your mailbag questions for us. We'll answer some questions here for you, and then we'll get out of here. I do think, though, the Lions. What do you guys say? Where would you guys, if you guys had like redo that list, where would you guys put them?
Probably put them at 6.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably
maybe 5. I'd have to look at it again real
5
quick.
or 6.
Like I said, I don't. Go ahead, Gentry.
I was gonna say I still don't know if I'm putting them over like the Dolphins or anything like that, just because of the wide receiver core. I mean, it is what it is, but I think they're probably around 5.
Yeah, I'd put them. I don't hate the Vikings being over them. I think that's where the cutoff starts. The other ones I'll leave up there.
Do you know what's an interesting part too with this is the Kansas City Chiefs were 14th. I think that shows like how good Patrick Mahomes is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he has the 14th ranked weapons in the NFL, and that man still goes out there and wins back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, that's crazy.